I was tempted to title this video The Battle of the Underrated. I've always felt that Robbie Sims was a much better fighter than he's given credit for. Couldn't have been easy living in the shadow of his legendary brother, Marvelous Marvin. His opponent in this bout, Mike Tinley, is another fighter who never quite got the opportunities he deserved. Even in his heyday, he received a minimal amount of coverage from the New Jersey press corps, and beyond that, he was far under the radar. Tinley was a thinking man's fighter with blistering hand speed. He never got the big break to fight on a platform beyond ESPN. Sims, on the other hand, did make it to the major networks and landed that high-profile fight against Roberto Duran. At this point in Sims's career, he's struggling to regain momentum. He's coming off a knockout win over Tony Chiaverini, but has had a couple of controversial outcomes, a draw with Murray Sutherland and a decision loss to Clint Jackson, with questionable scoring in both bouts. Meanwhile, Tinley has just handed the undefeated Mark McPherson his first loss. Having been a pro for just over 2 years, Tinley remains an unknown commodity, and that actually works to his advantage here. Sims has to play a bit of a guessing game in the early going, trying to figure out exactly what Tinley brings to the table. Tinley has recently started training under Wesley Mouzon, a name many of you will remember as one of Dwight Colway's trainers. So this is a fast-paced fight with a good mesh of styles.
Mike Tinley from Camden, New Jersey, 11-1-1 with 6 knockouts. And from Brockton, Massachusetts, Robbie Sims, 16-2-1 with 13 knockouts. Tinley in the white, Sims in the red. And a reminder that here in New Jersey, they score it on the round system. The referee, Frank Cappuccino, not involved in the judgment. That'll go to the 3 judges at ringside if they indeed go 10 rounds. There is no 3 knockdown rule, as we found out in our first bout.
And I think the strategy of this fight is relatively simple. When Mike Tinley wants to land the lead right, you saw him just miss one. He thinks that's his ticket to winning this fight. He thinks he can land it often on Sims and eventually will hurt Robbie. Robbie, there's the lead right by Tinley. Robbie would like to use all of this ring. There's not much of it, 18 feet, and give a lot of lateral movement to Tinley and outbox it.
Plus, Robbie Sims benefits a great deal from sparring and working out with his brother, Marvin Hagler, the marvelous one who will battle Roberto Duran in November. A lead right hand by Tinley right on the button, and that caught Robbie Sims. It shook him up a little bit. He's not hurt, however.
Well, I said that was the ticket he would ride tonight, and early he shows us the quickness in that right hand.
Tinley looking sharp despite the fact that he hasn't fought since March 25th when he took care of Carol Frazier in the 5th round here in Atlantic City. And he scored with another lead right hand. Sims with his first effective hook with the right hand. Sims, the southpaw, in the red. We're halfway through the opening round. Sims with a hard jab. Tinley comes back with 2 right hands to the head. Another right hand. He backed Sims up to the ropes, and I think that 3rd right hand shook up Robbie.
Mike Tinley's been able to land that lead right often in this first round, and he made no bones about it to anybody. He said that punch will land tonight and it'll hurt Sims, and so far,
real sharp. Another right hand by Tinley, and he's scoring easily with that.
And Sims has yet to get his jab on track, an important weapon in his arsenal. That makes everything else work for him.
Robbie can box and he can slug. And here against Tinley, it looks like he wants to box, and he gets backed up again by 2 right hands by Tinley. Final seconds, opening round.
I think he wants to box, but he's getting lured into a slugging match with Tinley. And on the inside, Robbie has not been as effective as he might be.
By the way, we spoke about Tinley's inactivity in the ring. It's because he changed managers. Doesn't matter who's managing him tonight. He's been sharp with the right hand in the opening round. Robbie Sims. Tinley said before the fight that he believed that Sims was wide open for a right hand. As a matter of fact, he advertised the fact that he was going to attack Sims with a right hand.
There's a good right hook by Sims. The first round, very decisively to Mike Tinley, courtesy of those straight rights and some good jabs, so he won it big. What can Sims do to stay away from that right hand? Well, first of all, he can keep his left hand a little higher, and second of all, I think he needs to keep Tinley busier, shooting the jab, which he's doing, and which the Petronellis urged him to do in between rounds. If he keeps Tinley on his heels, it'll be harder for Mike to land those punches.
Big right hook by Sims, and that caught Tinley on the head. He's okay, however. Right uppercut by Tinley, and that hurt Sims. Sims' arms are sagging a bit here. He's holding on. Robbie hasn't been able to get his rhythm going. Tinley has been attacking first. He's been getting off first. And he's been scoring with that lead right hand. And that right uppercut was the surprise here in round 2.
And the lateral movement that Sims started to show us in the first round is all but gone now. You see he's flat-footed. He was exchanging with Tinley, and that could be a big mistake.
Tinley was confident that he could wear down Sims and get him in the later round. Robbie off balance there halfway through round 2.
And they're one of the big weaknesses of Robbie Sims. He tends to lunge with his punches and often is caught off balance. That was his biggest win as a professional. There's no doubt about that. And stamped him as a possibly good middleweight. Now in this round, Robbie Sims is coming back with combinations, and that's what he needs to do, put his punches together and keep Tinley busy. He's made a much better round of it.
In the last few seconds, Sims scoring effectively with the left hand for the first time in the fight. Right hand by Tinley again, and that was a powerful punch. Sims rocked on his heels early in this fight. Final seconds, round 2. The question is, can Tinley keep up this pace? Remember, Robbie Sims works and spars arduously every day with his brother. I wonder if Tinley can keep this up for 10 rounds.
Get off it.
We're into round 3 at Resorts International in Atlantic City. Middleweights Robbie Sims and Mike Tinley. They're scheduled for 10. Now, Al, I don't know how you scored the second round. I wasn't looking over your shoulder, but it was a round in which Robbie Sims had to come back to establish himself after Tinley was almost overwhelming in the opening round.
I thought by and large Sims did, and I ended up giving him the round by a very narrow margin. Tinley landed some good shots, but Robbie was very busy. Sims started going downstairs to the body, which I think would be a great idea.
Sims was there first with the right hook. He beat Tinley's jab with it, but hasn't followed up. And Tinley complaining to Frank Cappuccino about a low blow. As Sims trying to work the jab against Tinley.
And that spare punch has been dormant a lot during these first 2 rounds. Very little lateral movement from Sims. You see him pretty much standing straight in front of Tinley and exchanging with him. That is not what he had in mind for this fight.
Sims is throwing harder jabs here in round 3, starting to establish himself here, and Tinley continues the fierce pace. A swat of a left hand by Sims. Tinley, I think, was stunned for the first time in this fight.
Robbie switches to the conventional style, fighting as a righty here. He does that from time to time. There's a good left hook.
We're halfway through round 3. And Tinley in this round really hasn't made much contact. Sims is starting now to be more accurate and with better power.
Robbie's fighting with a lot more confidence, and one of the keys is he's putting his punches together. He's punching in combination, which, of course, is his trademark. And notice the head movement from Sims, avoiding a lot more punches in these rounds.
Another telltale sign. Tinley is missing more often now. Big left hand by Sims. Tinley is a lack of movement. He's not punching accurately. And suddenly, Robbie Sims has rallied here in round 3.
Now, Tinley, I think, is too close to Robbie Sims. For Tinley to be effective, he's got to have room to throw that lead right hand, and he doesn't really have the room. Sims is pressing him on the inside.
Al, I think Tinley has blown himself out already. Unless he catches a second win, he is a different fighter here in round 3. He is gulping for air, and his arms look a little bit heavy as we head down the stretch. Sims has taken Tinley's best, and he's come back rounds 2 and 3. The start of round 4, scheduled for 10. Robbie Sims in the red, the southpaw. Mike Tinley in the white. Third round wasn't a good round for Mike Tinley. And in the Robbie Sims' corner, the Petronellis, Pat and Goody, told Robbie not to back up against Tinley. Use more side-to-side movement.
Plenty of luminaries in the corner. The Petronellis, who of course work with Marvelous Marvin Hagler, and Wes Mouzon working in Tinley's corner. This is the first fight he's been in Tinley's corner, I believe, and he is, of course, the trainer of Dwight Braxton Quaid, who is here tonight. The former ESPN champion and the former light heavyweight world champion.
He was the first champion in our original tournament.
Tinley is trying to set up the lead right with the jab, and it looks like he's doing it. There's the right following behind the jab. He just hasn't landed it as much as he did in the first round.
Sims with a electric-like counter combination, ending it with a left hand to the head on Tinley. Less than a minute to go in round 4. I think it's kind of obvious at this point that Robbie seems the better conditioned fighter. And we're only in round 4. Left hand by Sims to the head of Tinley.
You should remember that Robbie, too, though, later in fights has a tendency to tire out in the 8th, 9th, and 10th rounds. We saw it against Sutherland. But that's presuming that Tinley can get that far, and he, of course, has never gone past 8.
Tinley connected with a lead right, a right uppercut, another right hand, and Robbie wasn't even phased. And that tells us that Tinley's lost his power. Final seconds, round 4.
And it's interesting, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind now that Robbie Sims, if he's to win this fight, belongs on the inside rather than where he wanted to be on the outside against Tinley.
Big mistake there by Sims. He had his hands down, and Tinley walloped him. Robbie's got to be careful.
All right, soldiers, get out.
Round the 4th, a left hand by Robbie Sims. We're back live for round 5. Sims in the red, coming on strongly in the last couple of rounds after Tinley was furious in rounds 1 and 2. Joining Al Bernstein and I at ringside is Carlos Tite, undefeated from Hammond, Indiana, with 18 wins, 15 by knockouts, and he'll fight the Mexican champion Raton Montes in our ESPN main event Wednesday, September 7th in Hammond, Indiana. Carlos, strictly as a fight fan, what do you think of this one?
It's a very good fight. It's a pretty close fight. I think Sims is up a little bit. The come on after Tinley took the first 2 rounds, like you were saying. It's a real good matchup, though.
You know, in this round, Tinley is again getting the right hand on track. He's landing that lead right hand, and that was his plan as he came into this fight, but in the last couple rounds hasn't been able to get it on track.
And Sims now bleeding from the right cheekbone. So Tinley has drawn first blood. Robbie's got a cut on his right cheekbone, and he takes a strong right hand from Tinley. And I continue to point out that I think Tinley's lost a lot of his steam.
Carlos, what do you think Sims should do to get away from that lead right hand?
I don't know. He's been getting hit with it a lot. Maybe ought to circle to his right a little bit more. And keep the jab in his face.
Carlos Tite joining us at ringside. He's been on ESPN before, winning 18 in a row, 15 by knockouts. And you saw Tinley connect with a right uppercut. And Al, this round, it looks like Robbie's a little disoriented.
He was so effective on the inside, Sims. That was really a better place for him.
Yes, it was. He was counter punching real nice inside.
We just saw evidence of that right there.
Robbie especially busy here in the final minute of this round. Final second.
I think Tinley has lost a lot of his gas.
Tinley looking for that home run punch as he has his mouth wide open. Sims has got a cut, but it's on his cheekbone, therefore the blood is not squirting into his eye. So that'll take care of round 5. We're halfway through the scheduled 10-rounder. We are in the corner of Mike Tinley of Camden, New Jersey.
And the left hook. Mostly with the left hook. And mainly, number 1, I want your chin out of the air, and I want your left hand work. I want your jab work. Okay? You can hit this guy with jabs. You know that. You can see it, okay? Now look at it. Eyes on him. I want you to hit him with it.
You heard the words of Wes Mouzon talking to Mike Tinley. Here's some action from the 5th round. Here we go into round 6. Al, that was a especially competitive round. How did you score the 5th?
I gave the 5th to Tinley. I thought he did well over the first 2/3 of the round. And here's a big right again by Tinley. That's the reason. In the last round, he was able to get that punch on track. So I've got this fight pretty close. 3 for Sims and 2 for Mike Tinley. And a lot of these rounds are very arguable either way.
Tinley scores a lot with that right hand lead. That's his money punch, it seems to be.
A left hook by Tinley and a right uppercut. And that right uppercut, I think, stunned Robbie Sims. Sims hasn't done anything since then.
And that's another punch that Sims has worked well. You know, both these fighters have excellent hand speed, and we haven't seen as much from Tinley as we should have, as I thought we would, but now he's starting to throw combinations.
Blood continues to spurt from the right cheekbone of Robbie Sims, but he's working the body of Mike Tinley, scoring also to the head with right hook. Carlos, do you suspect that if Robbie makes Tinley work a lot, that Tinley will run out of gas?
You know, that's what I thought at first, but it seems like he's getting some steam back in him. He's coming back. It looks like he's got a second win, maybe.
Mike Tinley, who hasn't fought since March 25th. And he connects with a straight right hand to the head of Sims. Sims, once again, on his heels, comes back, though, with a body attack halfway through the round.
You know, this is so indicative of Robbie Sims' fights. He'll look great one round and not so good the next. He even changes within rounds. A half a round he looks good, and then the second half he'll look terrible in the arsenal. A punch we didn't see much of in the first few rounds.
Yeah, I was wondering when he was going to take care, use that punch.
They're back to a quick pace, and once again, when they're at this kind of pace, it's Tinley who's more dominant. This is the kind of round that really tests the will of the fighter. Talking about two guys going toe-to-toe here in the middle of the fight.
And if we thought that Tinley ran out of gas a few rounds ago, which we did, he is proving us wrong.
Right hand by Tinley, left hand by Sims. A big right hand by Tinley. Sims with a body attack, and they're heading for the bell. Resorts International commenting on this middleweight encounter between Mike Tinley in the white, Robbie Sims in the red. A right and a left to the head by Tinley, and Sims backed away. Sims takes 2 more right. I don't know where Tinley's getting all this fresh oxygen between rounds. He looks like a different fighter.
Looks like he's in total control of the fight now. And Sims comes right back then.
Another strong right hand by Tinley. Sims seems to be able to take the best that Tinley is offering.
Tinley don't get all the power I think he should in his punches.
Is that because he's throwing mostly with his arms, Carl?
Right.
Now, that's something you had to work on, because when you started, you were very much an arm puncher.
Oh, yes.
This is round 7. The 6th perhaps was the best round of the fight. The problem with Robbie's offense is his defense that's a little bit weak.
Yes, he don't seem to be getting away from the punches. And when he gets inside, he's working the body good and coming up to the head, but he's getting hit a lot. Especially when Tinley takes a step back and then throws that right hand lead.
Hands don't lose your work. Okay, now you're tied. Come on, buddy.
Tinley's power punching seems to have an effect on Robbie Sims. Robbie looks like his arms are a lot heavier now, and he's not as sharp as before.
His legs look like they're going a little bit too.
The swollen condition of Sims's right eye has not worsened. The trickle of blood coming from his right cheekbone. They're not factors as yet.
And that same condition he suffered against Murray Sutherland, swelling and a cut into the right eye. So that's becoming something of a chronic problem for Robbie.
Tinley came out here at the beginning of round 7 and did some real effective whacking, and has had Sims on his heels and not counterpunching effectively. Round 8, and neither fighter has been down. Robbie Sims cut on his right cheekbone. Tinley doing some heavy hitting here in round 8. Al, how do you have it so far?
Mike Tinley, on my scorecard, unofficial though it may be, has won the last 3 rounds. So I have him making quite a dramatic comeback, and I have him ahead 4-3 in this fight.
Remember, coming up after this one, Melvin Paul, the ESPN lightweight champion, defending for the first time against undefeated Bobby Johnson of Eastern Pennsylvania, scheduled for 12 rounds. This one's scheduled for 10. And Sims is hurt.
Overhand right.
That was a big overhand right, and as you said, Carlos, that's the punch Sims can't get away from.
It is Mike Tinley who's come back strongly in this fight. He seemed to blow himself out by the third round. Sims came back in rounds 3, 4, and 5, but it has been Tinley in rounds 6 and 7. There's a good argument that Tinley took round 5 as well.
Sims staying right in there, though, and banging right back.
And I think Tinley's getting a little wild, Carlos, and that could cost him here.
Yes, it could. He's throwing that overhand right, then he brought his right hand up like he's going to throw it again. He's just lucky Robbie didn't start a punch then.
We're halfway through round 8.
And this will be a very difficult round to score.
A right hand by Tinley and then a left by Sims.
That was a heck of a combination. Just one and the other.
Of course, all this pounding isn't doing the right eye of Robbie Sims any good. It's swollen. I can't say that it's shut yet. Final seconds of the 8th round.
Is there a cut above Tinley's left eye, or is that just blood off of Sims?
Looks like a smear. We'll be back with round 9. Solid left hand. Coming up, round number 9. I'd like to thank Carlos Tite, undefeated middleweight, for coming by and saying hello. We look forward to seeing you, Carlos, Wednesday, September 7th in Hammond, Indiana, your hometown, against the Mexican middleweight champion, Raton Monti. Good luck.
Okay, thank you. And we look forward to seeing you in the basketball game, too, that Al was talking about.
You're challenging us, huh?
I told Carlos we were going to set up an ESPN top-ranked basketball game in the Midwest. So right now, though, a lot of scoring going on in the ring, and most of it by Mike Tinley.
2 big right hands by Mike Tinley on the jaw of Robbie Sims. Tinley not working the body at all. He's strictly headhunting. Robbie comes back and straightened up Tinley with the left hand. Now the right eye of Sims is a factor. It is closing quickly.
And as always with Sims, he's embroiled in a fight that is very close, could go either way, and the ebb and flow of this fight is such that it will be very difficult for the judges to figure out who is the winner tonight.
Sims connecting with a strong left hand in the middle of that exchange. Robbie's forgotten the jab, and you see Tinley scoring with a right hand as we see a trickle of blood on the left eyebrow of Mike Tinley. First fight since March 25th. That cut on Tinley's left eyebrow, a small one, not a major cut. Final seconds of the ninth. Sims knows that he has to keep busy.
After the third round, I really thought Tinley was so fatigued that he would just burn out, but he has proven that that is not the case, and even though he's fatigued now, he has really fought at a quick pace.
This one looks like it's close, and the 10th and final round is coming right up.
Side, Robbie. No, he's dead.
We're in the corner of Robbie Sims.
Okay. This is the round, Robbie. Show him what a champion's made of. Right?
You with the water.
Don't pull. Don't pull.
Pat and Goody Petronelli with some final words before the final 3 minutes. Mike Tinley there with a right hand really to the neck of Robbie Sims. Big problem for Robbie is a shut right eye. And in between rounds, he complained to the Petronellis that he was thumbed back in the 5th round. At any rate, this is very tight, and I want to get a look at Al's scorecard.
Oh boy, this is a tough fight to score. I've got it 4-4-1. No, that's not. Yes, 4-4-1 with Tinley and Sims absolutely even at this point.
Robbie Sims won 12 in a row before he lost his first pro bout in January of '82, 10-round decision against Bobby Chen. He won 3 in a row by knockouts, but then he lost a 10-round decision to Clint Jackson. He drew against Murray Sutherland, knocked out Tony Schiavone, and continues to make rumblings that he wants to be recognized as a world-ranked middleweight. Robbie Sims, who is 16-2 with 1 draw, taking on a very game Mike Tinley, who's 11-1-1 with 6 knockouts. Tinley proving he had no ring rust here tonight, despite the fact that he hadn't fought since March. And this is very important, obviously, for Tinley as well, because if he wins, he will have beaten the named fight.
And if the edge should go to Sims here in this last round, you would think, because he's been 10 and Tinley hasn't, but being fought on equal terms here in this round.
Get off first, stop waiting.
Al, you think that with about 2 minutes gone now and about 1 minute left to go in the fight, that maybe Robbie has stolen this last round?
It's possible. It's been a pretty close round, though. He's landed some good flurries, but, oh, good right hook by Robbie Sims.
Very pretty combination. Robbie Sims working the body, then coming upstairs with a right hook to the head of Mike Tinley. High entertainment here at Resorts International Atlantic City. These two middleweights look like they'll be going the full 10, and it has been interesting since the opening bell. Lots to talk about as the action ebbed and flowed in both directions. Robbie with a rally of his own in the middle round. Tinley hanging on strong.
This is the quintessential Robbie Sims fight. Goes back and forth and always provides entertainment and generally a close decision.
They go the full 10, and this will go to the 3 ringside officials. We'll be back with the official decision after this timeout.
We have a split decision. From Resorts International, here is the official scoring. Harold Letterman scores it 6 rounds to 3, 1 even for Sims. Tommy Kazmarek scores it 5 rounds to 4, 1 even for Tinley. Richard F. Murray scores it 7 rounds to 2, 1 even for the winner by split decision, Mike Tinley.
A great disparity in the judging, but Mike Tinley is the split decision victor, and we have cheers from one side of the room and boos from another side of the room. But Mike Tinley has scored a split decision over Robbie Sims, and will be in the ring to talk to the fighters after this timeout.
Use the term disgusted. Let me recap while Robbie's here the scoring. Harold Letterman scored the fight 6-3-1 for Robbie Sims. Tommy Kazmarek had it 5-4-1 for Tinley, and Richard Murray had it 7-2-1 for Mike Tinley. So tremendous disparity in the cards. I guess you certainly thought it was closer than 7-2-1 for Tinley.
I mean, I beat the man, and he, I think, feels it. He's just glad that he got over on me. That's all it is. What do you got to do for these guys? You got to come down here and you got to halfway kill him for the man to give the decision. He thumbed me from the 4th round on, and that's why my eyes like it is. You know, headbutt, you can see the knots. Very amateurish fighter. I figured on taking my time out there doing what I had to do, but he forced the fight, and I had to put my combination together. And from the 5th round, the 4th round, into the 4th round to maybe, let me see, I slowed down to 6, and the rest of the round, I had him.
Well, now, one of the problems you did have in this fight was that lead right hand, Robbie. You did get hit with it often. Were you ever hurt by that punch?
No, not at all. Not at all. Maybe around the 1st round, it caught me with a good shot, but it didn't hurt me. The man can't punch. He shouldn't even have been in there with me. I mean, they figured on him, on me putting him out probably early, and that's why they probably gave him the decision. No way. You got to fight him someplace in Connecticut, Atlantic City. Maybe it is a hoax. Like I said earlier, I don't think it's a hoax, but perhaps it is.
Well, Robbie has lost here to Clint Jackson and also Bobby Ches. Pat Petronelli, I guess you're very disappointed about this decision.
Well, I don't know what to say. We knew it was even going into the 8th round. No, 9th round, we had it dead even, and my brother and I, we always give it ourselves the worst end of it. We had it even. We said, Robbie, you need these next 2 rounds. If you win the 9th and 10th round, we won the fight. And you've seen what happened in the 9th and 10th round. He won every second of every round. Every second of the 9th and the 10th. He could not have gone another round.
Would you seek a rematch in a different site?
Absolutely, absolutely. This is the 2nd time it's happened. Once in Clint Jackson disputed a split decision with Robbie, and now it's happened again. Absolutely, we'd fight him again. But the officiating here is something to be desired.
Well, thank you. Pat Petronelli and Mike and Robbie Sims not pleased about this decision. Let's see if we can get Mike Tinley here to see his side of it. He, of course, is the winner. Mike? We're trying to get Mike Tinley here. Michael? Can we get him over here? Tinley, of course, the winner with the split decision win, and he is coming over with his trainer. Here comes Mike Tinley, and Mike, if you can stand in right here, you obviously were elated over the victory. What is your reaction to the fact that the scores were so different?
Well, it depends on each judge score the fights in their own way, the way they see the fight, and I don't expect the fight to be each judge to have the exact same decision at the end of the contest, because they both are sitting different places and they both got different opinions on how they see the fight.
Now, you had never gone 10 rounds before. Did you, in about the third or fourth round, it looked to us like you were starting to get a bit fatigued, were you?
No, I was pacing myself. I was coasting around fourth or fifth round. I start coasting and y'all noticed that I was choosing my jab, trying to set him up. I move around, I tried to outbox him. I wasn't tired at all, but yeah, I was a little bit tired, but I wasn't exhausted. And Robbie Sims was the hardest fight I ever had in my whole career, and he deserves a rematch if he won it. He's a great fighter, man. He's a great fighter, but I definitely feel as though I won the fight.
Well, Robbie Sims said any time, just off camera here. And Mike, he says he'd like to fight you somewhere else. He feels that maybe he's had a problem here in Atlantic City. What's your reaction to that?
Well, I seen his fight with Murray Sutherland, and it was in his hometown, and I definitely believe that Murray Sutherland has won that fight, but it's like that in boxing. I've fought in Philadelphia before, and I know I definitely won the fight, but I didn't get the decision. So that's a part of boxing. I know he caught the good break before, because I seen it with my own eyes, and I guess today I caught a good break. And even though I do believe I won the fight, but
very quickly, what does this mean for you in terms of your next opponent? Better quality?
Yes. I don't want nothing easy, because I'm training hard now. I knew I could go 10 rounds, and I wanted to fight a caliber fighter, and I just want to move on from here on in.
So there you have it, a controversial decision here. Both Mike Tinley and Robbie Sims feel they won the fight. Well, it was given to Tinley. Let's go back to Sal Marciano.
Tinley went on to win the ESPN middleweight title after this bout, but later lost to Doug DeWitt. He did get a rematch with Sims after that, and I'll see about posting that one in the future. And looking at Tinley's resume, I was surprised to see that he fought Michael Nunn. I don't remember that fight at all, and we'll try to see if that was televised, and if there's any footage available, I'll post. Unfortunately, Tinley's career took a downturn following a decision loss to Iran Barkley in 1985. Another fight with controversial scoring. Tinley believed he had won, and in a later interview, he revealed that the disputed loss drained his passion for the sport. Afterward, he took a job as a security guard and stayed away from boxing for over a year before relocating to Detroit to join the Kronk Gym. There, he became a sparring partner for Thomas Hearns, but his career ended in 1989 after a loss to Tony Thornton. If you haven't seen the Robbie Sims documentary yet, I'll leave a link for that in the description box below. Thanks for watching.